Greetings from Christian News and Interviews. And I'm Kathy Green. I won't be before you long, excuse me, but I have not had time yet to comment on Tina Knowles Lawson's very controversial, maybe it shouldn't be controversial, but it is, her new documentary about Black males and the stereotypes around Black men. And so I just want to put my 2 cents worth into it. I'm going to start off by saying that I have not yet seen the documentary. I'm in no rush to see it because I know Black men for myself. I don't need to see it. I don't need to be convinced that Black men are not all trash or that Black men are not all criminals. Let me back up and start by saying that I'm very fortunate. I was born and raised, God, how can I describe my family? In a very close-knit, loving, beautiful family, and not just my immediate family. My cousins, my uncles. Just a wonderful, just when I think back of my childhood, going down to Alabama in the summers to visit my cousins in Alabama, going to West Virginia to visit my mother's part of the family, and just growing up with support. I grew up in a neighborhood where everybody, and I'm talking about Black people, had a father. Even if the father was drunk or on drugs or whatever, he was in the home. All my aunts had husbands. My cousins had husbands. And so this new thing, to me, it's new, of where is the Black male? Why is he not in the home? That's new for me. Because I grew up with a loving father. He loved and continues, thank God he's still alive, to love all 6 of his children. My uncles, I grew up seeing them love their children, their wives. I grew up in a family where we would get together. We didn't have to have a family reunion. We would get together. There were barbecues. There were parties. There was Thanksgiving. There was the 4th of July picnic. So I grew up around educated, decent, upright, Black men. And before I get deeper into it, let me say that there is a movement. And hopefully the movement won't go past YouTube of women who, bless their hearts, I'm not going to say anything negative about them because their experience is their experience. But there are women out here who have said that they're going to divest from Black men. They've said things such as, if every Black man in the world were to be blown up and murdered, they would be happy. Now, am I angry at them for saying that? No. Do you want to know why? Because I started off telling you that I'm very fortunate. I grew up in a loving family with a decent father. I don't have any daddy issues. 4 wonderful brothers, always protected. I grew up with uncles. I grew up in an environment where it was normal for men to be there. My relatives, my friends, my neighbors, they had men, they had husbands who were normal. And so these women who, as I said, there's a movement of Black women who say that they want to divest from Black men. And as I listened, I can't be angry at them because they were not as fortunate as I was growing up. To listen to them talk, every man in their life is trash. Their fathers, their uncles. These are women who have been attacked and brutalized by their own fathers, betrayed by their own uncles, their own brothers, the men in their neighborhood. These are women who've been consistently beaten up and abused in all types of ways by the men in their lives. And to the point where even their own sons don't escape their wrath. And so when someone says that Tina Knowles is a mammy because she's speaking up for Black men, I beg to differ. Tina Knowles is simply a person who grew up the way I grew up. She grew up in a normal environment, exposed to normal men and normal lifestyles. Do you know it's normal to have a man in your life? It's normal to have a husband. Let's start off with, I'm going to share my screen right quick. I hope you all can see this. Black men making it in America. Okay, so let's quickly debunk some. Let's debunk some myths. There is a myth that all Black men, or 99% of Black men, are out here thugging it up. But the truth of the matter is, thugs are a subset of the Black community. Every community has a subset. Asians, as successful as they are, there's a subset of Asians who are criminals. There's clearly a subset of white people who are criminals. There's a subset of Asians, Hispanics who are criminals. There's a subset of Italians who are criminals, and I could go on and on and on and on and on. The Irish, they have their subset. And so Blacks are no different. There is a subset of Black people who are criminals. Absolutely. However, that's not the subset that I don't hang around with them. I don't know anything about them. Let me tell you the Black men that I know about. Let's get rid of some stereotypes that all Black men are trash. No. All the Black men in your life, sister girl, are trash. And I'm sorry that you've been exposed to that. But I don't have any Black men in my life who are trash. The type of Black man I went to college with was a decent Black man. Listen to this. Black men's economic standing. More than 1 in 2 Black men, 57%, have made it into the middle class or higher. That's the kind of Black man I hang out with. My brother-in-laws, my husband, my cousins, my friends, the educated ones. That's who I hang out with. I don't hang out with trash. Listen to this. Black men who score above average in their sense of agency, measured by reports that they feel like they are determining the course of their own lives, versus feeling like they do not have control over the direction of their lives as young men and teenagers in the late 70s, and more likely to be prosperous later on in life. 52% of Black men who had a higher sense of agency as young men made it into at least the middle class. when they reached age 50. Am I saying that every black man in my life is a college educated man? No. Some of my uncles on both sides of my family were blue collar men their entire lives. But you know what? They were decent. You don't have to be an attorney, a medical doctor to be decent. The men I grew up with were hard-working men who came home to their wives every evening. Black men's economic standing. The share of black men who have made it into the middle class or higher stands at 57%. Does that sound like a bum to you? Education and work is engines of black men's success. Let's see. By midlife, only 28% of black men who had contact with the criminal justice system when they were young have moved into the middle class. Well, duh. Let's see. The military, marriage, and the black church as engines of black men's success. Basically, it's saying that it's helpful to have grown up in a church, around a church, with the support of a church, or the military. Black men turn out better when they have grown up in church or when they've gone to the military, because there's a certain discipline that goes along with that. About 70% of married black men are in the middle class. Let me repeat that. About 70% of married black men are in the middle class, compared with only 20% of never married black men. So what we need to do is encourage men in general to return to marriage. Ignore these feminists out here. Ignore these man haters out here. And we need to encourage communities. I don't care what race you are. Let's get back to families. We need to get back to families. Okay, so I'm now going to look at what happens. 1 second. Okay. Oh, I don't have that slide that I was looking for. Oh, this was an interesting article. Are there more U.S. black men in prison or college? Well, that is a myth. There are more black men in college than in jails. Thank you. There was another article that I want to share with you. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Let me see. Because we always look at black men in terms of them committing crimes, but we also need to look at them in terms of being victims of crime. There was a really good article. Here it is. Okay. Homicide is a leading cause of death, okay, for young black males 10 to 24. So not only are young black males oftentimes the perpetrators of crime, let's also accept the fact that some of our cousins, our sons, our nephews are the victims of crimes. Young black males 10 to 24, homicide is a leading cause of death. Young black men were the most likely demographic to be robbed every year. Okay? 92% of all victims of robbery and 91% of victims of assault receive no known assistance from victory service agencies. And these are black men just out there just trying to get from point A to point B, and this is what they're going through, and I'm going to be honest, at the hands of the subset that I was telling you about. Remember, I told you there is a subset of disturbed young men who are Black, who are out here causing crimes. That subset is what we need to deal with. An estimated 28 to 45% of victims of violent crime suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, a condition that causes physical and mental health challenges. Black men are suffering from this because they can't walk to a store in peace without a gun on them for fear that another Black man will come and take their life. Okay? All right, so let's go back. And so let me end where I started. Congrats, and I'm going to give a hand clap to Tina Knowles Lawson, who produced what I have not seen yet, the documentary about decent Black men and the stereotypes. I do plan to watch it. I've been busy. I haven't had time to watch it yet. But I want to be very clear that for those who've never had a positive encounter with a Black man, including their own sons, my heart goes out to those women and others. But that is not my life. I grew up around Black men who are decent, educated, loving, God-fearing, and that's who I'm around right now. So, hand clap to Tina Knowles Lawson. You and I know the same type of Black men. And in terms of the subset of Black men who are out here committing crimes, they need to be jailed. And I'll be the first one to write them up on my program, my channel. And that's all I wanted to say for this evening. God bless.